All right, we're back. Now I'm going to be playing as world history people on the classic edition of Hunger Games Simulator. Starting now. Let's begin.
As the tributes stand on their podiums, the horn sounds. Albert Einstein runs away from the cornucopia. Charles Darwin runs away from the cornucopia. Claude Monet runs away from the cornucopia. Alexander Graham Bell, Pablo Picasso, and Paul Revere work together to get as many supplies as possible. Michelangelo and Margaret Thatcher fight for a bag. Margaret Thatcher strangles Michelangelo with the straps and runs. Queen Victoria convinces Charles Lindbergh to not kill her, only to kill him instead. Napoleon Bonaparte runs away from the cornucopia. Isaac Newton runs away from the cornucopia. Vincent van Gogh runs away from the cornucopia. Christopher Columbus runs away from the cornucopia. Galileo Galilei clutches a first aid kit and runs away. Leonardo da Vinci runs away from the cornucopia. Eli Whitney runs away from the cornucopia. Nelson Mandela runs away from the cornucopia. Thomas Edison runs away from the cornucopia. Joseph Stalin snatches a bottle of alcohol and a rag. Ben Franklin runs away from the cornucopia. Rembrandt runs away from the cornucopia. Winston Churchill runs away from the cornucopia. Amelia Earhart grabs a backpack, not realizing it is empty. Leonardo da Vinci fishes. Amelia Earhart goes hunting. Pablo Picasso defeats Galileo Galilei in a fight, but spares his life. Winston Churchill and Claude Monet hunt for other tributes. Ben Franklin questions his sanity. Isaac Newton runs away from Paul Revere. Rembrandt, Vincent van Gogh, and Charles Darwin hunt for other tributes. Thomas Edison, Christopher Columbus, Alexander Graham Bell, Albert Einstein, and Eli Whitney hunt for other tributes. Queen Victoria and Margaret Thatcher hunt for other tributes. Napoleon Bonaparte steals from Nelson Mandela while he isn't looking. Joseph Stalin searches for firewood. Joseph Stalin climbs a tree to rest. Winston Churchill sets up camp for the night. Vincent van Gogh and Thomas Edison track down and kill Alexander Graham Bell. Napoleon Bonaparte and Charles Darwin huddle for warmth. Paul Revere starts a fire. Amelia Earhart and Ben Franklin huddle for warmth. Margaret Thatcher climbs a tree to rest. Eli Whitney screams for help. Galileo Galilei quietly hums. Queen Victoria is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Rembrandt and Nelson Mandela hold hands. Albert Einstein and Claude Monet work together to drown Pablo Picasso. Isaac Newton and Christopher Columbus hold hands. Leonardo da Vinci tries to treat his infection. Rembrandt explores the arena. Albert Einstein, Napoleon Bonaparte, Margaret Thatcher, and Galileo Galilei raid Winston Churchill's camp while he is hunting. Leonardo da Vinci questions his sanity. Charles Darwin diverts Queen Victoria's attention and runs away. Paul Revere makes a slingshot. Thomas Edison receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Isaac Newton fishes. Eli Whitney fishes. Amelia Earhart receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Claude Monet picks flowers. Ben Franklin practices his archery. Christopher Columbus receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Nelson Mandela tends to Vincent van Gogh's wounds. Joseph Stalin picks flowers. Isaac Newton and Galileo Galilei work together to drown Margaret Thatcher. Leonardo da Vinci receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Eli Whitney cries himself to sleep. Thomas Edison and Christopher Columbus huddle for warmth. Claude Monet climbs a tree to rest. Amelia Earhart and Napoleon Bonaparte hold hands. Ben Franklin attempts to start a fire, but is unsuccessful. Vincent van Gogh looks at the night sky. Nelson Mandela dies of dysentery. Winston Churchill begs for Paul Revere to kill him. He refuses, keeping Winston Churchill alive. Rembrandt lets Joseph Stalin into his shelter. Queen Victoria looks at the night sky. Charles Darwin bashes Albert Einstein's head against a rock several times. Queen Victoria scares Paul Revere off. Claude Monet collects fruit from a tree. Thomas Edison steals from Christopher Columbus while he isn't looking. Eli Whitney receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Ben Franklin is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Amelia Earhart camouflages herself in the bushes. Charles Darwin, Vincent van Gogh, and Rembrandt hunt for other tributes. Leonardo da Vinci goes hunting. Winston Churchill receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Isaac Newton questions his sanity. Napoleon Bonaparte goes hunting. Galileo Galilei constructs a shack. Joseph Stalin makes a wooden spear.
Wow.
Amelia Earhart tends to Queen Victoria's wounds. Napoleon Bonaparte and Thomas Edison sleep in shifts. Joseph Stalin dies from thirst. Galileo Galilei lets Paul Revere into his shelter. Winston Churchill, Isaac Newton, and Eli Whitney discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Charles Darwin loses sight of where he is. Vincent van Gogh receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Christopher Columbus fends Ben Franklin, Leonardo da Vinci, and Claude Monet away from his fire. Rembrandt dies trying to escape the arena. Winston Churchill tends to Christopher Columbus's wounds. Claude Monet, Isaac Newton, Leonardo da Vinci, Ben Franklin, and Vincent van Gogh hunt for other tributes. Eli Whitney and Napoleon Bonaparte fight Amelia Earhart and Thomas Edison. Amelia Earhart and Thomas Edison survive. Galileo Galilei discovers a cave. Queen Victoria picks flowers. Paul Revere receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Charles Darwin travels to higher ground. Vincent van Gogh loses sight of where he is. Claude Monet looks at the night sky. Christopher Columbus sets up camp for the night. Paul Revere and Isaac Newton talk about the tributes still alive. Galileo Galilei stabs Leonardo da Vinci in the back with a trident. Charles Darwin loses sight of where he is. Queen Victoria and Ben Franklin hold hands. Thomas Edison questions his sanity. Winston Churchill pushes Amelia Earhart off a cliff during a knife fight. Christopher Columbus, Winston Churchill, and Galileo Galilei get into a fight. Galileo Galilei triumphantly kills them both. Queen Victoria receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Ben Franklin sprains his ankle while running away from Charles Darwin. Thomas Edison receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Isaac Newton injures himself. Claude Monet stabs Vincent van Gogh with a tree branch. Paul Revere makes a slingshot. Paul Revere is awoken by nightmares. Ben Franklin poisons Isaac Newton's drink. He drinks it and dies. Galileo Galilei sets an explosive off, killing Thomas Edison. Claude Monet is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Queen Victoria loses sight of where she is. Charles Darwin receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, weapons, and memoirs from the tribute's families. Galileo Galilei, Ben Franklin, Claude Monet, and Queen Victoria track down and kill Charles Darwin. Paul Revere sobs while gripping a photo of his friends and family. Claude Monet receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Ben Franklin stabs Paul Revere in the back with a trident. Queen Victoria explores the arena. Galileo Galilei constructs a shack. Galileo Galilei throws a knife into Queen Victoria's chest. Ben Franklin climbs a tree to rest. Claude Monet accidentally steps on a landmine. Ben Franklin unknowingly eats toxic berries.
Oh my goodness.
The winner is Galileo Galilei from District 7.
That was very historic. All right. That's how everyone did. I'm gonna wrap it. Okay. Let's go ahead and wrap it up for this gameplay. I'll see you for the next one coming up. So don't go anywhere.